Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to cut through the noise and gets you those key insights. It really feels like the world today is just on fast forward, doesn't it? Technology's moving so incredibly fast, and, well, each change just seems to make the next one happen even quicker. It reshapes everything, how we live, work, and definitely how businesses connect with you.
It really is an incredibly dynamic landscape.
Yeah.
And when things are moving that fast, having some kind of anchor, a clear point of reference, that becomes absolutely essential. And that's what we're aiming to give you today. We're doing a deep dive into some really key parts of the book, Marketing 4.0, Moving from Traditional to Digital. It's by Philip Kotler, Herman Karchagaya, and Iwan Setiwan.
Yeah, fantastic book. Our mission today is really to unpack how marketing has just fundamentally changed in this digital age. We want to help you get a real handle on this new landscape, understand what it actually takes now to connect with customers in a way that's, deeply impactful. This book, it's been called an eye-opener for marketing in the new era, and it really does offer that vital baseline for figuring out this digital and mobile future. So let's dig in. Where should we start? Maybe with how power itself has shifted.
Absolutely. That's fundamental. What's really striking is how the internet, just connectivity and transparency, has radically changed power structures. We've seen this huge shift from exclusive power towards, well, inclusive power. Think about global stuff like governance, the G7, right? That small group of powerful countries.
Yeah, the older guard.
Exactly. They figured out they just couldn't solve the really big global problems like the financial crisis all by themselves. They had to involve broader groups like the G20. That includes those fast-growing economies, especially in Asia, China, India, Indonesia.
Right. It's like an admission that you can't hoard influence anymore.
Precisely. And it's not just governments, is it? You see this in the corporate world, too.
Oh, definitely. Big companies like Microsoft, Amazon, they realized innovation wasn't just happening inside their own walls. So they went out and acquired smaller, really innovative companies, Skype, Zappos, bringing that outside thinking in.
Yeah, integrating it. And what's really interesting is how it goes beyond just business strategy into like economic inclusivity. You've got billionaires, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, setting up these huge foundations, donating massive amounts of wealth, trying to lift communities, solve global issues.
And then there are those disruptive innovations. I mean, the Tata Nano, a $2,000 car.
Incredible. Or Aravind Eye Care System doing cataract surgery for, what, $16?
Yeah.
It's about reaching markets that were just ignored before,
Yeah.
bringing essential things to them.
And it can flow the other way too, right? That reverse innovation idea, like GE's portable ECG machine, designed for rural India, but then it found uses everywhere because it was just so portable.
Exactly. It's a two-way street now. And if you zoom out a bit, you also see this massive shift from vertical power structures to horizontal ones.
Okay, what does that look like?
Well, think about this statistic the United States of Facebook has. Like 1.65 billion people. It's essentially the world's biggest country, right? A huge network of peers interacting side to side horizontally.
Wow. Yeah, that's a powerful image.
And look at news. Twitter is often where breaking news happens first. Often from citizen journalists. It completely bypasses the old media gatekeepers.
And kids these days. YouTube stars are bigger than Hollywood actors for teenagers. That Variety survey was
It
eye-opening.
really was. It shows where the influence actually lies now. Remember the whole fuss around the movie The Interview? Sony tried to control its release, but YouTube, this horizontal force, ultimately won out.
So the old top-down control is just eroding.
It is, and even companies are adapting their R&D, moving away from purely internal stuff to more open, connect, and develop models.
Yeah.
You see companies like P&G, Unilever, collaborating much more with external innovators.
It really feels like a fundamental rewiring of influence. And it's not just the big players like governments and corporations, is it? It seems to go right down to the individual level, and especially how social groups now hold power.
That's a crucial point, yeah. We've seen dictators toppled by movements led by, well, basically unknown people, not the usual strongmen. Think about Occupy Wall Street, a grassroots social movement that really shook the financial establishment.
In Time Magazine's Person of the Year, back in 2014, it wasn't a president or a prime minister. It was the Ebola fighters, a collective.
Exactly. Recognizing that collective effort. And this really translates to the marketplace. Customer communities, they've become incredibly powerful and vocal. They challenge companies directly. And here's the key thing. They trust random conversations they see online about a brand way more than polished advertising.
It's a complete flip of the old model, isn't it?
Totally. Which brings us to, well, who is this connected customer?
Right. What defines them?
Okay, so first off, They're super mobile, living faster lives, expecting things instantly, efficiently. They're digital natives, obviously. They can make buying decisions anywhere, anytime, switching between devices seamlessly.
But interestingly, they still value physical experiences, right? It's not all digital.
Not at all. That high-touch engagement still matters. And maybe the most critical thing, they are intensely social. They talk to each other. They trust each other, friends, family, online peers, far, far more than they trust corporations or brands.
So this constant connectivity, it creates some interesting, almost contradictory situations, doesn't it?
Paradoxes, yeah.
Like on the one hand, you, the customer, have access to unbelievable amounts of information. You're super informed, but you're also constantly bombarded with stuff. So attention spans are shrinking.
Informed, yet distracted. That's one paradox.
Hmm.
And another's around advocacy. Connectivity magnifies both the positive and the negative voices. You get passionate advocates, sure, but you also get amplified detractors, the haters.
Which sounds bad, but the book suggests something counterintuitive here, right? That having haters isn't always a disaster.
Exactly. It's fascinating. For some brands, being polarizing can actually be a strength in this connected world. Think about McDonald's or Starbucks.
Mm.
They have significant percentages of both lovers and haters.
Yeah, I saw those numbers, like 33% lovers, 29% haters for McDonald's.
Right. And the theory is that the haters actually activate the lovers. They jump in to defend the brand they feel connected to. It creates this dynamic, almost living conversation around the brand.
So conflict can actually drive engagement. Wow.
It can. Which leads us neatly into understanding the most influential segments in this digital world: youth, women, and netizens. The authors call them YWN.
YWN. Okay. These are the subcultures really driving things.
They are. They're increasingly shaping the mainstream. So if you want strong brand advocacy, you really need to understand and connect with these groups.
All right, let's break down YWN. Starting with youth, the now generation, you called them.
Yeah. They want everything instantly. They set trends incredibly fast. Think about pop culture, how quickly it changes. They're the natural early adopters iPods back in the day, Netflix streaming more recently. They're not afraid to experiment, to try new things.
So for marketers, tapping into that willingness to experiment is key for getting new ideas off the ground, capturing mind share.
Exactly. They influence what comes next. Then you have women, who are steadily growing market share.
How so?
Well, they're often the household managers, right? Influencing something like 70 to 80% of all household purchases. Huge impact. They're also incredibly thorough information collectors. They research more across more channels than men typically do. And they tend to be holistic shoppers. They look at everything: function, emotion, price, considering lots of options, even less popular brands, before deciding.
So a very considered, connected approach.
Okay.
And the third group, netizens. Gaining heart share, the
Yeah.
book says.
Yes. These are the ultimate social connectors. They build those massive many-to-many networks we talked about, often starting from simple one-to-one links on platforms like Facebook or WhatsApp. And they're often highly expressive evangelists, really passionate about brands they love or hate, and they're active online, defending brands they like against cyberbullies, trolls, and haters.
The factors, followers, fans, friends.
That's them. They express strong opinions, often using the anonymity the internet provides.
Yeah.
They really invest emotional energy.
Okay, so we have these huge shifts. Power moving from vertical to horizontal, from exclusive to inclusive, the rise of the connected customer, and these influential YWN segments. It's pretty clear marketing had to change fundamentally.
Absolutely. It had to evolve. And that brings us right to Marketing 4.0. What is it at its core? It's really an approach that blends online and offline interaction seamlessly between companies and customers.
So it's not either digital versus traditional.
Not at all. It's about integrating them. It combines style with real substance. And crucially, it recognizes that machine-to-machine connectivity needs to be balanced with human-to-human touch. The ultimate goal. It's all about driving customer engagement and ultimately advocacy.
So how does this change the old marketing playbook? Those core concepts like segmentation, targeting, positioning, the 4 Ps.
They get a major update. Let's start with segmentation, targeting, positioning, the classic STP model. In the digital economy, the focus shifts to customer communities. Communities are essentially the new segments.
But they form themselves, right? Not defined by the market.
Exactly. They form organically around shared interests, values, or brands. So brands can't just barge in anymore. You have to ask permission to engage. Seth Godin's idea of permission marketing is key here. Be like a helpful friend, not a hunter setting bait.
Be invited, not an invader. I like that. And what about the brand itself? Positioning.
Well, positioning is still important, but in this transparent world, brands can't really get away with false promises anymore. Everyone can see through it. So it shifts towards brand clarification of characters and codes. It's about being really clear and consistent about your brand's raison d'etre, its fundamental reason for being, its core values.
So the core identity stays solid, even if the look changes.
Precisely. That core authenticity allows for flexibility in the outer image, the messaging. Think about Google's doodles. They change all the time, but you always know it's Google.
Or MTV's logos over the years, always recognizably MTV, even when they look totally different.
Exactly. Strong character, flexible codes. And this thinking also transforms the traditional 4Ps.
Product, price, place, promotion. What happens to them?
They evolve into the more customer-focused 4Cs. So product becomes co-creation. Companies increasingly involve you, the customer, in actually developing the product, giving you a real sense of ownership.
Makes sense.
Price. Price moves towards currency or customer value. It's less about a fixed cost and more about reflecting the value perceived by the customer, their willingness to pay. And digital tech allows for dynamic pricing, prices that change based on demand or other factors in real time.
Okay. And place.
Place becomes communal activation. It's about being present and accessible wherever customers naturally gather, whether that's online communities or physical spaces, blurring those online-offline lines, making it convenient.
Right, being where the customer is. And promotion.
Promotion transforms into conversation, moving away from those old one-way advertising messages towards genuine dialogue. Think about platforms like TripAdvisor or Yelp. Customers are constantly sharing experiences, reviewing products, talking to each other about the brand. It's a conversation the brand needs to participate in, not just broadcast to.
So it's a much more dynamic, customer-driven landscape. This must change the journey the customer takes too, right? From first hearing about a brand to actually buying and recommending it.
Absolutely. The old model, often called the 4As, aware, attitude, act, again, doesn't quite capture the reality anymore.
Why the change? What's different now?
Three big things, really. First, your individual attitude towards a brand is now heavily influenced, sometimes even replaced, by community influence. What your peers think really shapes the brand's appeal. Second, loyalty isn't just about buying again. It's redefined as a willingness to advocate, to actively recommend the brand.
Even if you're not currently buying it yourself.
Even then,
Yeah.
think about people who love the idea of Tesla and advocate for it, even if they don't own one. And third, customers are now actively connecting with each other for information. They build these ask and advocate relationships, they ask questions, share answers, build trust among themselves.
Okay, so that leads to the new customer path. The 5 A's, what are they?
Right, the 5 A's. Aware, appeal, ask, act, and advocate. So aware is that first stage. You're passively exposed to a whole bunch of brands, maybe from past experience, marketing, or hearing someone else talk about them. Just getting on the radar.
Okay, initial exposure, then what?
Then comes appeal. You start processing those messages, and a shorter list of brands actually grabs your attention. They feel memorable. Maybe they have that wow factor.
Yeah.
This is often where youth, as early adopters, jump in.
They find something attractive, so then they...
They ask. Curiosity kicks in.
Oh.
You actively start researching those appealing brands. And this is key. You're not just looking at the brand's website. You're asking friends, family, checking online reviews, maybe even searching on your phone while you're standing in a store.
That blend of online and offline research.
Exactly. That integration is crucial. After the research, hopefully comes act. You make the purchase, or maybe you start using a service more deeply.
The commitment point.
Right. And finally, advocate. This is where you move beyond just buying. You actively recommend the brand, maybe write a positive review, defend it online. You become a loyal advocate.
And you mentioned this isn't always a straight line, right? It can be more like a spiral.
Yeah, absolutely. Customers might jump between stages, revisit the ask stage later, or consider different brands at different points. It's not rigidly linear.
You know, looking at that path, what really stands out is how much influence comes from other people. The book talks about the ozone, right? 3 sources of influence.
That's right. The ozone consists of own influence, other influence, and outer influence. Own influence is your personal judgment, your past experiences, your preferences. Surprisingly, in this connected age, this is often the least influential factor.
Really? Less than other people?
Generally, yes. Because other influence, it's your friends, family, social media connections, online reviews, is incredibly powerful. That Nielsen study you mentioned found 83% of people trust recommendations from friends and family above all else. That's huge.
Wow. So word of mouth amplified by digital connections.
Precisely. And then there's outer influence. This is the traditional stuff. brand advertising, marketing communications.
Yeah.
It often creates the initial awareness, but then it absolutely needs to be validated by that other influence. People hear the ad, then they check with their network.
So the key takeaway is trust really resides with others now, more than the brand's own message or even our own initial gut feeling sometimes.
That's the fundamental shift.
Okay, so if the customer journey and influences have changed so much, how do companies measure if their marketing is actually working effectively in this new world? Market share alone isn't enough, is it?
Not nearly enough. The authors propose two really insightful new metrics:
Hmm.
the purchase action ratio, PAR, and the brand advocacy ratio, BAR.
PR and BAR. Okay, break those down for us.
Sure. PAR looks at how well a company converts awareness into actual sales. It's basically your market share divided by your brand awareness level. If your PAR is low, it means people know about you, but they aren't buying. There's a blockage somewhere between aware, appeal, and act.
Okay, so it measures the conversion from awareness to purchase. What about BR?
BR measures how well you turn those buyers into advocates. It's calculated as your level of brand advocacy divided by your market share. A low BR means people are buying your product, but they aren't excited enough to recommend it. They aren't becoming those loyal advocates. Maybe the post-purchase experience isn't great.
So PAR tells you if you're closing the sale, BAR tells you if you're creating fans.
Essentially, yes. And by looking at where people drop off between the 5As, using these ratios, marketers can pinpoint the exact bottlenecks in their customer path and figure out what needs fixing.
Right. So once you've identified a bottleneck, say low appeal or low advocacy, what do? The book must offer strategies.
It does. 4 key strategies to improve PAR and BR by addressing issues across the 5As. First, you need to increase attraction. Make the brand more appealing, more memorable, right from the start.
How do you do that?
A big part of it is human-centric marketing, making the brand feel more human, relatable, understanding customer anxieties and desires, not just needs. Brands can demonstrate human attributes, like physicality, think Google Doodles again, that dynamic visual appeal, or intellectuality, like Tesla showcasing its innovation.
Emotional connection, too.
Absolutely. Emotionality, like those Doritos Super Bowl ads, they might be polarizing, but they get people talking, feeling something. Then there's sociability brands being witty or helpful on social media, like Denny's or Zappos, known for incredibly long, helpful customer service calls. And morality brands taking a stand, like Patagonia's environmentalism or Unilever's sustainable living plan.
So giving the brand a real personality, values, making it more than just a product.
Exactly. This also connects to the rise of experiential and lifestyle brands. Brands telling bigger stories, having missions that customers want to align with. Casper selling better sleep, not just mattresses. Tesla selling a sustainable future, not just cars. And of course, personalization and mass customization, using data to tailor offers and products. Burger King's Have It Your Way was an early example. Nike lets you design your own shoes.
Meeting very specific individual needs.
Right. And finally, under attraction, creating intriguing content. Content that people actually want to consume, that provides value, and leads them to discover and appreciate the brand indirectly. Think GE's sci-fi podcast, The Message, or American Express's high-end Departures magazine for cardholders. It's content first, brand second.
Okay, so that's about boosting initial appeal. What's the next strategy?
The second strategy is to optimize curiosity. This addresses the ask stage. When someone is interested, you need to provide compelling information easily. This is where content marketing really shines, shifting from just pushing ads to creating content that's genuinely useful and valuable to the customer.
We hear a lot about content marketing. What does doing it well involve, according to the book?
They lay out an 8-step process, essentially. It starts with clear goal setting. What are you trying to achieve? Sales. Brand building. Then audience mapping, really understanding the subcultures and communities you want to reach. What are their specific interests, like 3D printing enthusiasts or bird watchers? Then content ideation and planning, brainstorming relevant ideas that fit your brand character, planning for different screens. GE's Technologist magazine is a good example here, followed by content creation, which could be in-house like Amex Publishing, sponsored like MasterCard does, or even user-generated like Heineken's Ideas brewery platform.
So creating the actual stuff, then getting it out there.
Exactly. Content distribution using your own channels, website, blog, paid media, ads promoting the content, and earned media, people sharing it. Then content amplification, actively engaging in conversations around the content, not just publishing and forgetting. And finally, the crucial loop. Content evaluation, seeing what worked, and content improvement, constantly refining your approach based on data.
It's a very deliberate, strategic process, not just throwing blog posts out there.
Definitely not. It requires real planning and commitment.
Okay, so we've attracted them, we've satisfied their curiosity. Strategy 3 must be about closing the deal, right? Getting them to act.
Precisely. Strategy 3 is to increase commitment, ensuring customers actually complete the purchase. This is the domain of omnichannel marketing. It's about seamlessly integrating all your channels, online and offline, so the customer journey is smooth and frictionless, leading towards that purchase.
Like Macy's or Walmart, letting you buy online and pick up in store, or return online purchases in store.
Exactly that. Or Amazon opening physical bookstores. It's about bridging the gaps. It helps address things like showrooming, where people browse in a physical store but buy online later, and web rooming, researching online, then buying in a physical store. You need to cater to both paths.
What technologies are enabling this seamless omnichannel experience?
Several key trends. Mobile commerce is huge, obviously. The now economy demands it. People buying cars on their phones, like BMW UK enabled. Or Tesco's virtual stores in South Korean subways where you scan QR codes. Also sensor technologies. Things like RFID tags in Burberry's changing rooms that trigger relevant content on mirrors, or NFC tags in casino supermarkets in France providing product info. They blend digital info into the physical space. And sophisticated channel analytics helping retailers optimize store layouts or send real-time offers based on where you are in the store.
But it's not just about the tech, is it? That seamless experience needs a human element, too.
Absolutely critical. Tech enables it, but the human touch differentiates it. Remember that famous Ritz-Carlton story about the lost giraffe toy?
Oh, yeah, they went above and beyond, took photos of the giraffe having an extended vacation before sending it back.
Exactly. That kind of empathy and personal touch creates a powerful emotional connection. Or Zappos sending flowers to a customer going through a tough time. Those moments are unforgettable. They build deep commitment.
That makes sense. Okay, so the final strategy must be about keeping customers after the sale, turning them into advocates. Strategy 4.
Yes, strategy 4 is to increase affinity, moving customers from act to advocate by building loyalty and encouraging recommendations. This involves engagement marketing post-purchase.
And how do brands do that effectively?
The book highlights 3 popular techniques. First, mobile apps. They leverage how glued we are to our smartphones. Apps can deliver engaging content like Pokemon Go did. They can provide convenient self-service like banking or pharmacy apps. Or they can integrate with the core product itself. Think the My BMW Remote app to control your car, or Audi's MMI Connect.
And making them social helps too, right? That Solomo idea.
Definitely. Solomo Social Location Mobile. Apps like the Nike Plus Run Club combine tracking runs, location, mobile, with social sharing and challenges. Social, that builds community and engagement.
Okay, apps are one tool. What else?
Second is social CRM, customer relationship management, but using social media channels. It's about actively managing brand interactions on social platforms, responding to queries, solving problems, building relationships. It might be a dedicated support handle like Nike Support or a more unified approach. The key here is having empowered agents who can actually solve problems, and often leveraging the community itself like Cisco's expert communities where customers help each other.
Turning social media from just a broadcast channel into a real service and relationship tool.
Exactly. And the third technique is gamification.
Ah, using game mechanics in non-game contexts, like loyalty programs.
Yes, loyalty programs are a classic example. Starbucks Rewards with its stars, tiers, and free drinks. Or Walgreens Balance Rewards encouraging healthy activities. Gamification works because it taps into our natural desires for achievement, competition, status, fun. It can be really effective at driving specific behaviors.
What kind of behaviors?
Well, it can trigger transactional actions, making purchases, referring friends like Uber or LendUp, making payments on time. Or non-transactional actions, writing reviews like Amazon, sharing personal info for better personalization, Starbucks again. Logging healthy habits like achievement. Good gamification defines the actions clearly, sets up enrollment and maybe tiers, and offers meaningful recognition or rewards points, badges, discounts, or just that little hit of instant gratification, like getting the toy in a McDonald's Happy Meal.
It sounds like it makes desired actions feel less like chores and more like, oh, a game.
That's the idea. Make it fun, engaging, maybe a little addictive.
So wrapping this all together, Marketing 4.0 feels like a really holistic approach. It's about deeply understanding you, the connected customer, integrating online and offline seamlessly, and guiding you along that path from just being aware all the way to becoming a passionate advocate.
That's a great summary. It really emphasizes human-centric approaches, understanding anxieties, desires, combined with leveraging digital tools smartly, not just for efficiency, but for genuine engagement at every single stage.
And when companies get this right, when all these pieces click together, that's when you get those truly memorable moments, right? Like that Krispy Kreme story you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. The Olympic Rings donuts. A customer made a slightly unusual request, probably expecting a no. But the employee, Jackie Braun, didn't just say yes. She nailed it. Perfectly shaped and colored rings.
And the customer's reaction that, wow, W got captured, went viral. Millions of views just from one positive, unexpected interaction.
That's the power of a WOW moment. The authors define it as an expression of speechless delight. It has three characteristics. It's surprising, it goes way beyond expectations. It's personal, it resonates with your specific situation or need. And it's contagious. You just have to tell someone about it.
And the point is, the best companies don't just hope these happen by accident.
Not at all. They strategically design opportunities for WIW moments,
Yeah.
try to build them into the customer experience.
So the ultimate goal, maybe, is what the book calls life-transforming personalization. Designing experiences that connect so deeply with your individual anxieties and desires that they feel truly unique and meaningful to you.
That's the pinnacle. Moving beyond just satisfying needs to actually helping customers self-actualize in some small way through their interaction with the brand.
That's a powerful thought to end on. It really raises the bar for what marketing can aspire to be. So for everyone listening today, the question we leave you with is, are you ready to WOW?